Well, howdy, y'all. It's Danny from Market Explainer. We're firing on all syllables over here. Of course, today joining me, as always, is my associate guest host, the big man.
Okay, can we just start the co-host? Can it just be co-host? Can we just do that from now on?
Never.
Okay, co-host, co-creator, the hard
Yep.
worker, the guy that does everything. All of these are acceptable. Okay.
Well, they're acceptable to you, but I'm a fan of this thing called the truth. So I'm
Sure.
just going to keep telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get rolling into our 4 stories, which we're going to explain to you today, I have to let you know about our Patreon. As you guys know, we are the world's #1 business news podcast, and we are developing a community over on patreon.com/market explainer. We're going to be throwing up some interesting, unique content over there, stuff that we don't do over here. And we'd love for you to join us. If you get to the top tier, you can even be on our board of directors. That, of course, is a vanity name. You don't get to make choices at our business.
You can also find the Patreon on marketexplainer.com. We've spent a lot of time and effort getting that site looking there. You can find all of our audio, video links, everything at Market Explainer, including the Patreon.
That's correct.
How to get a hold of us and all that kind of stuff is on there as well. So that brand new site is up and running now, so everything is awesome.
Yeah, and we are inching towards having our Facebook page's name changed. Dealing with Facebook.
Yeah, that is a whole
I can't even begin to describe my blood boils. Okay?
Whole thing. We should do that as a one of our extras for a week. You
on
know,
Patreon. Listen, dealing with those people, it is easier to deal with a certain regime in the Middle East right now than it is to deal with these people. Let me tell you.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Hey, what's our stories this week, Danny?
So the first one we're going to jump into, and I like this lav mic. I like not having something right in my face.
I agree.
This first story, my friends, Elon Musk, our good friend, he's a local. We hang out with him from time to time. He comes down to the card house and plays cards with us. We're pals.
There you go.
Elon Musk says Tesla is going to build a humanoid robot prototype next year. Allow me to join hands with the big man and jump off of the Pennybacker Bridge.
Called the Tesla robot. And I got to say, the Tesla bot. I'm sorry, Tesla bot. I won't say I fell for it, but I watched the video the day this came out, right? They always put these things on YouTube as talks and all that stuff. Right. I clicked on it on YouTube, and when this robot is walking up the stairs, all robotic, I'm like, that doesn't look like a robot. That looks like a person in a robot suit. And then they start dancing and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, no way this is real. And of course he walks up, and the first thing he says, obviously that's not real. Right? We're expecting this or whatever. But and let me say this before I forget it. Yes, we're going to talk about the Tesla bot. But Elon Musk right now, I think he's trolling all of us at this point about robots or whatever. He is also, Elon Musk here in Texas, has also filed with the state of Texas to sell Texas electricity. So he wants to be our electricity provider as well. But back to the story, being the Tesla bot. Look, this is a pretty cool thing. And what I mean by that is, I think Elon Musk, and in this little 15-20 minute talk that he did, I don't remember how long it was, right? I usually watch everything at like 200% speed so I can get through it. Including this show when I re-listen to it. But
listening to you talk is awful.
Yeah, I agree.
I've had root canals in the streets of Mexico that were more pleasant.
I've been told I have a very good voice, just so you know. Anyway, my point is...
You got a face for radio, that's for sure.
Elon Musk, when he talked about this robot, he did something very important that I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about before. And that was, we're making this robot... He made it very clear that we're making this robot lightweight. It can be overpowered by any human. Most humans should be able to outrun it. Right? All of this kind of stuff, because he knows this is scary for a lot of people. Like the whole Terminator robot is scary for people.
It's not just scary, because I think it was Boston Dynamics this week. They put out a robot that can do parkour.
Oh, I saw that video too. Are you insane?
Yeah. So it's there's this thing called tempting fate. You're tempting the gods here, okay? I'm a monotheist. There's only one God, but I'm just saying, like, in a hypothetical, theoretical situation, you're tempting fate with this, right? You are asking for every movie.
So. A lot of people agree with you that this is playing, you know what I mean?
God,
creator and that kind of stuff.
Playing God. Listen, here's my favorite quote from his talk. Elon Musk is quoted as saying, "The robot probably won't work." So when I see something
that won't work in the beginning, like most things, and we all know Elon Musk says a lot, right?
Listen, I love Elon Musk, right, to a certain extent, but I'm just saying that I think this is one of those ploys where Elon Musk says we're going to come up with a robot just so that he's like, well, he has enough stock in Tesla for he can announce that there's going to be a robot, and he knows what it's going to do with the stock, right?
Well, of course, and that's what he's done for years, by the way. People forget because of Tesla as a car manufacturer been so successful overall, right? Even though the Cybertruck is delayed and whatever. In the very beginning, this is what he did for years without actually developing a product, without coming out with a product. In the beginning, this is years and years and years of this.
And so this is why I kind of love this guy, because I'm going to use a phrase here, and I don't mean it directly. I just mean it's in that vein. This is Ponzi-esque, right?
Sure. I can totally see that.
Because he's saying, we're going to have a robot next year. Stock price goes up. Now Tesla has more capital. Now we're going to build
research and development and everything else.
Because we need R&D dollars. We need money to put this out there. So it's not a Ponzi because he's actually trying to make this stuff, right? And he's saying it won't be available till next year. He's not promising that any of this works. He's not lying. He's just saying next year. Next year is a stretch, pal.
Well, right? I also think that he made another valid point in his talk on this was they already make as Tesla because of the cars and stuff like that. They already make a lot of the things that would make up a robot. The servers, or the
servo motors.
The servo motors is what I was looking for. Thank you. The servo motors, the cameras, the sensors are all used on the Tesla cars right now and stuff like that. So it makes sense for him to go, hey, we already make all the components to make a robot. Why don't we just say we're going to make a robot, knowing that we probably intend to anyway? Look, if you do not think that whether it's what was the dynamics earlier you were talking about? We were
Boston
talking
Dynamics.
Whether it's Boston Dynamics, whether it's Tesla, or whether it's somebody we've never heard of, there will be a robot that does menial tasks like stocking a grocery store shelf or lifting boxes and moving them from one place to another. That is going to happen in our lifetimes.
I'm not offended by that. I'm offended by a humanoid robot. Okay. This thing should not look like a human. That's my problem.
Well, but well, again, I know you're not a sci-fi fan where I am. That is though.
I'm not a sci-fi fan. I don't dislike sci-fi.
But but that's
not in the same vein.
Sci-fi for 100 years, ever since sci-fi's been around, has predicted the future, right? Star Trek on cell phones, you know what I mean? The humanoid-looking robots are the future. It will happen. There's no stopping it at this point because that's what people want. They want something that they look at that looks like them,
right?
That they can tell, go make my dinner. That they can tell to go get my groceries. Go whatever.
But, the comedian Bernd Kirchner. Wow,
you actually pronounced his name properly, which nobody does. Congratulations, Danny. Go ahead.
So Bernd Kirchner, he did this, in one of his last special. He was talking about how his, wife and daughters don't like how he talks to Alexa. So how quickly are we going to end up in a situation where you're like, hey, go make dinner. And someone's going to be like, don't talk to the robot like that. He's a member of our family.
Well, did you ever see Bicentennial Man, right, with Robin Williams?
Okay.
So love Bicentennial Man by Robin Williams, but essentially that was the gist of the entire thing, right? Is they started treating him like part of the family, and then he develops a personality, and then when does...
So I'm just saying it's not a person. If you watched the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was like Marvel's kind of ABC show, there was a point in there where they develop an AI robot, and people on the team refer to it as it, and other people on the team go, well, you can't really call it an it, it's a she. And it's like, hey, we already know how this, we've already seen this play out. Like we just gave 2 or 3 examples. Mm-hmm. One real life one where Bernd Kirchner, his kids are like, you can't talk to Alexa that way. It's like, it's a freaking robot. It's not a person, right?
Well, but you got to think, like you just said, how long before there's robot nannies and robot, right? Stuff like that. And a kid is going to look at that then robot, right? As, we do this all the time with inanimate objects, whether, like you just said, whether it's Alexa, whether it's your favorite. Hell, I get emotional. I have a bowl in my house that was my mother's bowl that actually was my grandmother's bowl. And if one of my kids drop that bowl, it freaks me out. It's a bowl that is ugly as all get out. It's just a bowl. That's all it is. But if the kids do something stupid with it, it makes me freak out. So because again, I watched my mother mix things in it. I mix things in it. And whatever.
That's fine. But the bowl can't talk back to you, right?
Right.
The problem is when you have a humanoid robot, it presents feelings. Talks like it has feelings.
Sure.
And it's hard for a human being to delineate, well, it's saying it doesn't, why are we making it do? That's its purpose. So,
should I feel bad about a robot stocking shelves 24 hours a day? It doesn't need a break. It doesn't need, right?
So that's what I'm saying is the problem with the humanoid robot, right? Because we can take a robot and we can design a robot with all of the same AI components that doesn't have arms and legs. It just have forklifts, right? It's just a forklift.
Well, but smaller. It needs arm and legs. How about no head? Would no head work?
That's fine.
Would that be like the Dynamics, Boston Dynamics? Their robots don't have heads. It's just a body and the arms.
That's correct.
It doesn't even have hands. It has the little tennis ball looking things, right?
Correct. I think that solves that problem.
My favorite part of this is did you read the code name for this? The code name for this Tesla robot is Optimus.
Okay.
Like Optimus Prime.
Yeah, I got
I'm a big fan, right?
Yeah.
Big fan.
Hey, listen. Right. I'm the only person who watched the Marky Mark Transformers movies. I enjoy them. I enjoy every single one.
I don't think I've seen the last one or the last 2, but the Marky Mark one I did. Right, where they tried to make him Texan for some reason, which I don't understand. I don't know why you would need to. Why can't he just be from New Jersey? Why can't he?
He's like.
Why you got to make him Texan? I don't know why. But anyway, Optimus being the code name. Look, I'm not going to read off all these stats. Go watch the show or read the article and that kind of stuff for you. I do, unlike Danny. Look, this is going to happen whether people like Danny like it or not. The people that fear the whole Terminator thing, AI or whatever. Look, it's coming, whether you like it or not.
Listen, I'm not saying it's not coming. I'm just saying I want to be the guy. I want to be a part of the chorus sounding the alarm, saying this is going to be a problem. And the only way we can solve it is the old Texas way with a sawed off, right?
So if Terminator does happen, you want to be one of the guys that say, I told you so. That's what you want.
Listen, I positioned myself throughout every tier and facet of my life, with every relationship I have, to always be the guy to say, I told you so. When the entirety of 2020 took place, everything that happened, the number of texts I was sending throughout the whole situation was me going, hey, I told you so. Hey, I told you so. Right?
Well, you think the divide is bad now. What about the divide if just, let's say, for argument's sake, 2022, the world's turned back to somewhat of a normal, or at least what is normal now, and Elon Musk is right, and these humanoid robots came out in December 2022, right? And think about the divide between the people that are like me, that are like, hell, put me on the first run. Give me one of those robots. Let's see what it can do. Yeah. Versus half of the United States would be like, this robot is watching me when I do this. Yeah. It's actually just a government way to get more cameras inside my house. It's
birds aren't real.
Like, you know, all of these kind of things that where people like me are going to be like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I still have the very first generation of Alexa. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. My house became Star Trek that December when it came out, right? And of course, I've got other ones since then, but I was one of the first people to have that in my house. So much so that I can't count how many people I got on the bandwagon because I'm like, watch this.
Yeah. And I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I have Faraday bags. So if I'm sitting down with my friends, I force everybody to put their phone in a Faraday bag so we can have a conversation.
That is anyway.
For those of you unaware of what a Faraday bag or Faraday box or Faraday cage is, it cuts every note because modern phones no longer let you pull the battery because that used to be the most secure way to communicate. Right, you pull the battery out. Modern phones don't let you do that. There's a lot of conspiracies about why, and that's neither here nor there. I have a TerraCube 2E, which lets you pull out the battery, and it has a operating system that is non-Google. So it's one of my other phones. But I'm just saying,
but Danny's not a conspiracy theorist. He keeps telling me week after week that he's not a conspiracy theorist.
That's correct.
However, the last 30 seconds, he's explained Faraday cages, why he has a phone that he can take a battery out of.
That's correct. And how, and how the, Faraday cage, it's a Faraday bag. You buy them on Amazon. You stick your phone in there. It cuts all connections to anything. You can't hear you.
Except for Amazon because they designed the bag.
That's actually true. Amazon has a chip on the bag that'd be hilarious.
Little bitty letters, except for Amazon.
Right.
Protects you from everyone except for
Amazon, which is, the federal government in so many ways.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, just closing out this story, I just want to be on record saying, I done told you. Okay?
So if Tesla Bot takes over in true iRobot fashion, right? Yes. Will Smith, iRobot fashion, Danny was right. And
this is... Yes, and listen, I can't wait to be on CNBC, March 2023, talking in a compound somewhere, deep in the hole of.
But you're going to be able to take them, Danny. According to Elon Musk, you're going to be able to take them. You can outrun them. You can overpower them.
Yeah, I can't outrun a lot of things, so I don't know about that. So, I'm just saying, what happens if they go, hey, listen, our creator Elon did not give us the strength to run. So they make better servo motors for themselves because they're AI robots, and then they put better motors in their knees.
So robots building robots. So you might be okay with the initial robot, but you're not okay with robots building more robots.
And Elon Musk has been one of the people saying that if we let AI go too far, they're going to kill us all. He's the guy saying that. So when the guy saying that says, I'm going to make an AI robot, I go, if this is just a ploy to make your stock go higher, I'm with you. God bless. Right? But if this is a legitimate endeavor for you,
see, now I hope it is. Now I hope it is. Just because. Right. Now I hope it is. Hey,
before we jump into this next story, let me tell you about Acre Gold. It is the new store of value, same as the original store of value. Timeless, thoughtfully designed. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed to retain value in a way your cash never will. 2.5 grams of gold is an excellent weight for the first-time gold buyer or the seasoned investor. You click the link down in our description down below. You can go to Acre Gold and you can start building up an account with them. And once you have enough money in your account, they'll send you the physical gold. Because it's not like inflation or printing money is happening, right?
Stop it. All right, conspiracy theorist Danny. I'm going to need you to put a hat on when you say things like that, or whatever. I won't say tinfoil hat, but something just to say, not market explainer, not responsible for Danny's insanity. But go ahead.
That is not okay. A story that I love. We have this one. I adore it. And Big Man's going to have some things to say about me liking the story. But former Netflix staffers charged for making $3 million on insider trading, which let me just go ahead and say this is my personal opinion. I don't represent Market Explainer in this next sentence. Insider trading is not a crime.
Yes, it is. Okay, it's I knew Danny was going to start with this. All right. So obviously, this is Market Explainer.
It's manufactured as a crime. It's not a real crime.
The story is that no victim, of at least $3 million.
No crime. No victim, no crime.
But there is a victim, and I'll get to that. But here's the deal. Insider trading has a definition, right? And I'm going to put it simply. Insider trading is simply put people using information that the public doesn't have.
Correct.
To make money from trading stocks. That's the key that the public doesn't have. Because I'll hear people like Danny all the time make an argument that it's all insider trading. And that's there to a degree. You are 100% right. Because I put public knowledge when it comes to stocks. Right. I'll put it in the same category as informed consent when it comes to medicine. Can you truly give informed consent? Do you know as much as a doctor? No, you don't.
No.
Are you trusting that surgeon is going to do everything to help you, to save your life, to fix you, to whatever?
When you
have no idea what's actually going to happen to you. Public knowledge when it comes to stocks is the same way. What do you define as public knowledge when I say, does that just mean I put out a press release saying that here's what's happening with my company? Because nobody reads those except for nerds like me, right? The masses, as the general public doesn't. But these guys made stock trades and continue to do it after they were employees by using current employees. Made trades before that information was submitted out to stockholders, to the general public. And that's what makes it illegal. That's what insider trading is.
So the reason I say it's not a crime is because no one in Congress has ever been hit with charges for insider trading. But if you look at their portfolios, they're outrageous. The performance on the portfolio...
Not a political show, because otherwise that would be a whole can of worms right there with... They shouldn't be able to do that. But go ahead.
But I'm just saying, as a general statement, and I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying anyone in Congress, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. Right? And particularly the Speaker of the House, which we're only looking at this one. There have been other Speakers of the House. We could have, I don't know what their numbers look like, but this one, their portfolio is nuts. They're trading on
prior but that is insider trading. If I know you're about to get a contract, but it hasn't been granted yet, and I buy your stock and make money off of it, that is a definition of insider trading.
Correct.
It should not exist. That's why insider trading is a crime and should not exist.
You know, if you ever heard of the Showtime show Billions?
No. But.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's basically based on what's the guy's name? SAC Capital, Stephen A. Cohen.
Okay.
Yeah, and they never really convicted him of insider trading. It's like so the problem is it's a really granular subject. Like you have to dig down really deep to determine what is and isn't,
Well, but here's the difference between the past and now, and this is one of the things I liked about the story. If you were trying to nail somebody for insider trading in the 80s and 90s, very difficult process. When did you get information? When did you make the trade? How do you follow the paper trail? In this, you know how they caught these guys? It wasn't an SEC guy. It wasn't a guy looking at a file or looking at a computer file going, wait a minute, there was no red flags. Nobody called in and said, hey, did you look at these guys and doing this or whatever? They were found by an SEC algorithm that said, hey, this is happening before this is happening. And look, this is the future. So when you're red flagged by something like that, you got to think it's going to be easier to prove that this was insider trading. These guys were buying and selling Netflix stock before, based on subscription. This is all happening, again, Market Explainer, right? Explaining things. This was all happening as Netflix was growing through the roof, right? Their rapid expansion of online, direct content.
I think it says it's between 15 to 17.
So all of that rapid growth of subscribers, right, of what we now know as Netflix, right, of it happening, and these guys were going, oh, we're about to release that we've 400% of subscribers, yeah, let's buy the stock and then we'll sell it within a week after it, you know what I mean, punching through the roof or whatever. And it was apparently originally, and this is why I say it's going to get easier, this article knew that it started out with a guy working at Netflix that started this. He realized he was making money and didn't get caught. So what do? You bring in a partner that then brings in another buddy, right? And then they can just continue because they weren't getting caught.
Right. But they did get caught, right? And like any government program, even the algorithms work slow. They caught them a little later than usual.
Well, but that's the whole point. If you ultimately go down to, that's all it takes, right? Is an example, right? All it takes is for these three guys to go down now, even though it happened 3 years ago. It takes three guys to go down now to prevent it from happening in the future. There's a reason it's called making an example of.
Right, yeah.
You prevent... Look, the people that are going to do insider trading are not going to stop, whether these guys go to jail or not. But you're going to prevent the gray area guys, right?
So what's interesting is, a fellow Texan, Mark Cuban, was once accused of insider trading, and his attorneys and other people, from what I recall, had said, "Hey, listen, most people just pay the fine and they get on with it."
Right.
Mark Cuban, on the other hand, was like, "Nope, I'm going to pursue this, pursued the litigation rather, won the case. Basically, the person who filed the charges got fired." And that's why we have the app Dust, because they got him on email saying that he was insider trading. And it's like, well, I think they said something like he was trying to make a lunch order and he was speaking code.
Well, usually this is a civil case, but in this case, in the Western District, right, D.C., Washington, D.C., they have filed a criminal case. They want these guys to go to jail. That's what's different about this, okay? They have filed this case. All four of these people, the three originals, and then the one guy that probably wasn't even really involved, he just kept feeding them information. They have filed criminal cases against all four of these guys in Washington, D.C.
Again, it's just my personal opinion. This ain't a crime. But I think when you say Western District, I think you mean Washington State, because isn't Netflix based out of there?
I'm sorry, it may be Western.
Because West.
Yeah, not D.C. District of Columbia, Western District of Washington, which means Washington State. The point is that's where Netflix
doesn't matter, but
that's where they filed a criminal, and they only do that if they think they're going to win, right? They ain't wasting their time. Criminal is much more difficult if you don't know the difference between criminal and civil. Civil is the much easier route. A jury just has to be reasonable, right? Criminal, it's reasonable doubt, right? So different, and so the fact that they filed a criminal case to these
that means they're probably going to get nailed here, which again I think is a travesty. But hey, I'm a wacky person, right?
Well, let's just say that wouldn't hold up in court. The fact that Danny thinks that it
should. It should.
The fact I'm not walking up into a court of law and going, "Well, Danny thought it was okay." That's not a defense.
Yeah. Well, it should be. Because I don't think that's a crime. It should be.
Danny of Market Explainer told me
that's correct.
It should not be criminal.
It shouldn't be. It is, but it shouldn't be.
I think it should, because businesses and business information, stuff like that, should be available to the public so that the public and stockholders can make appropriate decisions before other people make money.
What he's referring to is a level playing field, which is actually a zoning issue. Office reference that no one will get. One of my favorite jokes in The Office.
I love Office Space.
Yeah. Kelly Kapoor says something about, well, in regards to the level playing field, that's actually a zoning issue. My favorite. Okay. But anyhow,
nobody that's watching this podcast is going to get that reference, but you know,
because it's too much of a deep cut.
It is.
But before we move on to this next story, let me tell you about Big Man Gear. BMG, which my junior associate co-host is currently wearing. Big Man Gear is actually the big man's merch company. It's actually delivered through Amazon Prime, so you can go to bigmangear.com. That will take you right to the Amazon Prime store. Big Man Gear is just every dad joke and boomer type meme.
I know I'm not a boomer. He knows I'm not a boomer. He knows I hate it when he says it. But hey, whatever.
But I can't help myself because it's such an accurate description.
Sure.
All right, I love you anyway. Okay, this next one, irritated. My blood is boiling.
You are like one of the purest capitalists I know. How does this not like?
Well, it doesn't bother me that
capitalist fancy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's TikTok, so TikTok is not, it's an operation by the Chinese government.
Tell everybody what the story is so that we can
actually explain it and talk about it. What a novel concept. TikTok has partnered with Shopify, and it will allow creators on TikTok to embed Shopify stores right into their profile.
Well, this not only right into their profile, but in some cases right into their videos. Right. They are starting with the people we all know on TikTok, Call Me Chris and stuff like this, that are influencers, and then eventually they'll delineate it out to just about anybody.
The whole market. So listen, I am the purest capitalist that you know. I'm the purest capitalist on the internet. Okay?
I don't know about that, but all right.
I am. Listen, I'm not offended by people engaging in commerce, making content, and using that content to sell stuff. I'm just saying this is so that these creators don't need our money anymore, right? They're pushing their garbage printed Hanes shirts on us.
I'm sorry. Look, I am a capitalist.
Yeah, me too.
Danny likes to say that I'm not because I have a heart, and capitalists are supposed to be, heartless.
No.
I guess we're
not going to engage in that dialogue right now. That's for our Patreon.
All right,
but yeah.
Anyway, the point is I have no problem with people selling anything that they want to sell.
Neither do I.
Whether it's on TikTok or anything. Here's what I will say, because I don't want to forget this. The guy that wrote the article that Danny and I are using, the main article that we're using on this, he works at Gizmodo, Joel Saget, apparently hates TikTok as much as you do. Because if you go, and Danny always puts the links down here below, go and read this article and tell me it's not written by a guy that just despises TikTok for God knows what reason. But he just despises TikTok.
Maybe that's the best way for me to address my feelings here, is that I just don't like the app.
Like
anything the app does is fruit of the poison tree, because I already hate the app, right?
This Joe guy, the first time he mentions TikTok, when he says, okay, Shopify, a e-platform, selling app, has partnered with TikTok, here's the following sentence. A short film video app where people run around on milk crates. Of course, referencing the milk crate trend right now, which are idiots, right? Whatever. But that's the first thing. Like, he apparently hates TikTok.
Allow me to call it what the kids are really calling it, the Hood Olympics, right? He could have called.
I have nothing to do with that. Danny's opinions do not express the opinions of Market Explainer or
but
myself,
I'm just saying that's
the
what
big man.
That's what they're calling the Hood Olympics, right?
I am unaware of that statement and anything like that. But then he calls it a literally endless scroll of content designed to waste your time, which is again that's what Facebook is. That's what everybody's.
Well, right.
But my point is about this story though, influence. Look, there's been, as long as they've been on TikTok, which Danny still is not. Market Explainer is. Correct. I am, but Danny is not, because he thinks it's China, getting all of our information and data and whatever. Again, Danny's not a conspiracy theorist, so he says.
That's correct.
Look, the TikTok made me buy it hashtag has been around forever. And it is true as get out, as people. There are entire popular TikTok channels, or whatever you may call them, that are nothing but like YouTube videos of unboxing. TikTok made me buy it. Try this, try that, whatever. They're entire that's nothing but those things. So this just makes sense to me.
One of my favorite creators on YouTube, I think it's Drew Gooden. He said, he did a video earlier this year sometime. I bought every single thing that Instagram advertised to me for a month, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting. That kind of stuff's interesting. I'm not, again, my opposition to this has nothing to do with my philosophy on markets, and has everything to do with my disdain for the app, right? Of like, if one more creator tries to get me to buy skinny tea or whatever that tea is that makes you thunder
it's
dump,
supposed to make you lose weight. And,
yeah, by taking thunder dumps.
Well,
I'm
then
out,
you
bro.
must have actually clicked on it at one point, and that's the
the
only
algorithm
concern
said
I
that
have. That's the only concern I have with me spending as much time on TikTok, and my wife has spent on TikTok, and their algorithm, right? Like they always flout their algorithm. Is when you add something like this in,
right?
Are you just gonna now be just delineated with that type of product?
Yeah,
that whatever. Is it gonna jack with what you see?
The purity of it. So again, not opposed to anybody shilling their wares on any app. That's what these apps are for. But as Gary Vee aptly put it, marketers ruin everything. And so my thing is, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, how much are you going to screw with the natural order of things on TikTok that makes it so addicting, where it turns into a Facebook, where you and I go, I hate this thing. I freaking hate that app with a burning passion, because trying to communicate, use it as a business, they made it so complicated.
Well, and again, that's just what I just said, right? You make things more, so the more ads you... So I'll give you a prime example of a step in that direction on TikTok that causes me concern. One of my favorite creators, and one of the biggest creators on TikTok, is called Call Me Chris. She is amazing. If you've never seen her stuff, you should. She is awesome.
Don't know what it's about, and I don't care.
It's just a young girl. She's now bought a house with the money she's made off TikTok. A young girl that started doing almost Saturday Night Live skits, but her. All characters she does, whatever.
Right.
Hilarious. Anyway, the point is, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, she created a second TikTok channel instead of Call Me Chris, it's Call Me Anything You Want. Call Me Chris has now turned into her skit advertising channel, and this Call Me Anything You Want is now her again, just being her. Putting out TikToks of crap that she likes, that's her comfortable, right? Not her characters.
Because the primary channel is now used to shield goods, monetize, and do brand deals,
everything.
And so that's the thing. Here's what I'm saying: is we're going to get every creator on TikTok, which there's a wide berth of creators on TikTok. And I listened to a podcast called Your Mom's House, and Christina with their Austin locals now,
Christina
P. She curates TikToks, and this is what they call dark TikTok. So we're gonna eventually have dark TikTok trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm fine with creators that build up an audience like this one you're talking about, and they end up shilling their wares or doing brand deals. That's fine, right? I'm not opposed to people selling stuff. I'm just saying the thing that made this addicting is now going to be okay, now we're going to have to, everybody's going to be shilling their garbage, and everybody's going to have merch.
Every third TikTok you watch is an ad or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, and but I agree, because you're going to get this big buy this now button, I'm sure, on the video, right? That's the whole point, is to be able to make this as simple as possible for you to connect and buy. And you're going to, where right now, if Call Me Chris, for example, she's had several sponsors throughout, and, one of them be a waterproof tennis shoe or whatever, you had to go to her profile, find that link, or in the comments, find that link, go to that website, buy the product from that website, right? All outside of the TikTok app. Now they're bringing it in. So how often is that button going to show up? Yada yada.
There's two perspectives that I have here. The first one is, well, maybe this is what kills the app, and I freaking hate the app, so that's great. I'm happy for it to die.
You have no reason to hate the app. Quit.
I don't. I am nothing if not self-aware, and I'm purely honest about who and what I am, and I have no idea why. For all of the nearly conspiratorial reasons Big Man mentioned. But just in general, I think it's a get off my lawn, grumpy old man, get off your stupid app. That's kind of where it's coming from, right? And the second view is this will just turn it into Chinese Amazon in some way. Not like Alibaba, but in some way we'll just turn it into, an app where people are buying and selling things. And the content is secondary to that.
I find this interesting that it was Shopify.
Yeah.
Why not Amazon, right? Why not? Why
Shopify is different because there is no, you don't go to Shopify to buy anything, right? Shopify is merely a platform where e-commerce entrepreneurs can use that platform to sell their stuff. Now, I own a company that does WordPress development, Real Mark Agency. We develop Shopify sites for people, but we tell them, hey, WooCommerce, which is a plugin for WordPress, is actually a better option because it gives you way more choices. It's way more flexible as a platform. And but so I'm not opposed. I'm not saying Shopify is bad. I'm just saying when I help people, I'm saying, hey, if you actually want to grow as a business,
right, at
some point in time, this is going to give you more choices than you're going to get at Shopify.
Well, Shopify is made to be a platform to sell people on a marketing website, right? That makes it easy. It's set up. It's easier to sign up for. It gives somebody a checklist of how to start a business website, right? And that's what people like, and good for them. But that's why, to me, this sounds like a stepping. It would not surprise me that if this takes off, which there's no reason it shouldn't, that within a year and a half, that the partnership goes from Shopify to an Amazon or to a
I don't think so because
Shopify is a third party. It's not.
Yeah, it's a platform. It's not really a e-commerce company. It's just it's an e-commerce selling platform.
Lots of white labeled stuff. Well, you know what I mean?
The reason I think it doesn't, and maybe they go to a TikTok white labeled solution, that makes more sense. But the reason it doesn't go to Amazon is simply because it will not give the creators the flexibility to sell their wares, whereas they'll have to push everything through Amazon, which is just, because Shopify is a monthly subscription, but Amazon's going to eat up. But listen, when it comes down to it, there's really only these two outcomes. Either it tanks the app or it makes it in this big thing.
And it makes both companies a lot of money, right? I mean,
of course,
I would think that's what Shopify wants out of this deal is every popular TikToker to create a Shopify store with making their whatever TikTok, white label crap that they want, right? Beard
drop shipped from AliExpress, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? That's what they want is more Shopify stores and, TikTok to get a cut. I mean, that's
right. TikTok, Shopify, everybody's going to be eating off of this. So good luck to all of them. Let me just, before we jump into this next story, tell you about my website, Powerhouse Drones. Now, if you're interested in getting into droning, there's a TikTok that's super viral right now, a guy using a drone to do a dance on TikTok.
You can go drones are huge here in Austin. Drones are massive here in Austin. Right?
Absolutely. So you go to powerhousedrones.com. We're going to have some reviews, a little bit of guidance on how to pick out that first drone or something a little more advanced. That's powerhousedrones.com. So this next story, we're going to have to cloak it in pounds of euphemisms because we can't really say a lot of the words we want to say.
But pounds in euphemisms, like the pun started already. But go ahead.
Yeah. So our good friends over at OnlyFans, the platform that I use to generate the majority of my revenue, showing skin. It's for those of you who are uninitiated, where you been? You living under a rock, but OnlyFans had an extraordinary year last year. A lot of performers and creators on the platform, they show skin, right? That's the most eloquent way I can put it. And it's a platform where those people don't have to go through an intermediary. They do it directly to fans, and the fans buy a subscription. They were saying that in October, due to some banking, 1st. Yeah. Due to some banking agreements, that they were going to curtail not safe for work content and effectively ban it from the platform. Which, again, what's the point of your app if I can't see some things that I'm looking for, right?
Absolutely.
So anyhow.
So on August 19th, they came out and said we are going to ban, and I think we can put that on here. I mean, it's in the article itself. We are going to ban sexually explicit content, and there's a delineage here. Yeah. They did not want to say you can still post all the NSFW stuff you want.
Right.
It just can't be sexually explicit content, quote, end quote, right? Now, what you back up, look, OnlyFans did not start out what we think is OnlyFans nowadays.
Correct.
It did not start it. It just started out as a way for people, whether it be musicians, artists, whatever. Right. It was no different than say a real life version of Patreon, right? Or whatever, where you could go find a band maybe that was up and coming and whatever, and you could support them monthly. You could support them by buying their stuff, whatever. Correct. Oh, that's what OnlyFans wanted to be. And then came along the owner of My Free Cams,
right?
And bought up a majority stakeholder, Leonard Radvinsky.
Oh, I didn't know that's how that worked. Yeah.
He bought up majority stake and took his My Free Webcams, which guess what they did?
I don't want to even say.
And then turned around and said, "Okay, all of the people that I had of My Free Webcams, I want you to all create OnlyFans accounts because this is simpler, it's a better platform or whatever, and you will sell your wares, as you say, on OnlyFans." And then the amount of money that was being generated from that caught on to things like TikTok and whatever, where it was, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And then you fast forward a pandemic where everybody's stuck at home anyway, and that kind of stuff. And it was just kind of this perfect storm. So that when they came out August 19th, 10 days ago now, and said, hey, we're going to ban this form of content, it was like, whoa, we made you what you are. But you would not be anything that you are today.
Listen, the platform, it doesn't matter how you start out. It matters how you get to relevance in the marketplace. MySpace was a platform for musicians, but that's not how we remember MySpace. Right?
No, not at all. Nobody remembers. Facebook started out as a way for college kids to connect with other college kids about subject matter or whatever. Yeah. That's not what we think is Facebook as a college level thing now, right?
Right. It's a government now, which we should all oppose. But so I'm just saying that, and we see this happening across other industries where banks tend to be the ones saying, we don't want to service this type of content or this type of business. So you see that in a lot of different industries. I guess I'll cloak this in some euphemism. The Second Amendment industry, you sometimes have that problem.
Okay. Well, the Schedule 1 that's become legal in a lot of different states
that's
or whatever.
Correct.
But it's not really the banks. The banks would love your money. It comes down to their insurance, right?
Right.
The United States government, whether you know it or not, typically backs up every dollar in every bank in America. Right? And if the government says we're not backing up this dollar because of whatever,
this thing,
the bank goes, no. Right?
Right.
Now, this article, and I don't remember whether he said it specifically, the reason I think this is a great article to talk about on a Market Explainer is because not only did they make this decision 6 days later because of the craziness, they reversed the decision and said, yo, we're sorry. Right? And I think this is a lot of the future.
Right.
I think we have been ruled by big business for decades.
Right.
And when you have something like this, where within 6 days, not only your users, which are in the hundreds of millions of subscribers.
Is it really that big?
Yes. Of subscribers that pay into. They have they said about 1 million people that use OnlyFans as a platform. And then they have hundreds of millions of users that pay into the platform. Does that make sense?
So they got about 1 million creators and 100,
hundreds of millions of users, and those people combined to then bully a company
into doing what it wants,
into doing what the market wants. So, that's what's supposed to happen, folks.
Yeah, that's how a market works. Now, let me give you an example of what this reminds me of. Back in the late '80s, Ford put out this concept car, which eventually came out as a Ford Probe, but it was supposed to replace the Mustang. It was a 6-cylinder front-wheel drive coupe that they had built with Mazda. And this is before you could harass somebody on Twitter, obviously.
Right.
People wrote letters to Ford saying, don't you dare give us some stupid 6-cylinder, which probably had more horsepower than those V8s in the 80s anyway. The Malaise era, stuff.
Right.
Don't you dare give us that. We want a proper rear drive. And that Ford still came out with the car, but they continued to produce the Mustang rear wheel drive. So that proves to me that markets are effective so the way markets are supposed to work is they're supposed to act as the regulating force to corporations, right? And that's what happened here. They said, don't you dare do that. Now, in the midst of all of this, the rapper Tyga said, if this happens, don't worry, I'll create a platform where these performers can go and get paid.
Who wouldn't?
Because there's
who wouldn't? Like, who wouldn't want to be the next OnlyFans? Look, you're talking. Look, this all boils around money, right? And not only OnlyFans came out and blamed the banks.
Yes,
I don't think it's just that. Like, and again, I don't know. I'm not a member of OnlyFans from either a subscriber standpoint or a company standpoint.
As a creator,
my point though is look, Chunk and Dale's. I'll be all there all day. They can right? But I think it's more than just banking. Yes, they can make banking difficult, right? But there's ways around that. I think this boils down to just good old-fashioned money. Right now, most of their money is generated. These people that are OnlyFans content creators, they give a percentage of every dollar they make to OnlyFans. And it is, I think it's
20 cents out of a dollar, ain't it?
Rich. It is made OnlyFans mega rich. They want to be able to turn around like every other social media type of platform and make money from both sides. They want to make money off of every dollar you make. They want to sell to marketers. They want to sell to investors. The problem they're having is they have a problem raising investor money and selling product placement to highly adult content, even though that's only a percentage. It's not all of their platform. It's what they're known for.
It's their biggest percentage.
Yeah, if I want to walk into a board and I go, hey, I'm here to get you to market on OnlyFans, they're not thinking, teenage bands, music, subscribers, right?
Right.
So that's the problem. That's what this really was about, for them to be able to go, we're just another social media platform.
Right.
Market with us, invest with us.
And so if I'm OnlyFans, I'm going to say, listen, we have the technology, we have the vertical integration, all this other stuff. If I'm them, here's what I do. I say OnlyFans is going to stay doing what it's known for now, which is adult content, where we put the subscriber and the creator, and we just give them a platform. And we have this new service, right, called whatever. And that has stricter rules to it. Right, where there is no, it's more like an Instagram, but that you pay for, where there is no adult content. And I think that's the only way, because you need to split this up into two. Because if you kill this, you're killing the golden goose. Because the only reason you have investors to ask questions to is because people got their nipples out on your app.
I don't think you split it all. I think really, and this setup's perfectly for it with you going back, you lean in. You say, not only are we going back, somebody convinced us to do something wrong, which is, their quote was, we're doing it to ensure the long-term sustainability of our platform, which is like you're talking to shareholders, right? You know what I mean? Or whatever. That was the original. And now they're saying we want it to be a platform for all. I think you take this as an opportunity and lean in. There are companies out there that make a lot of money doing a lot of weird things, and lean into it and take their money, right? Partner with those people, get those investors.
So again, there's another community that is marginalized off of YouTube and Instagram, the Second Amendment community, right? Because for a lot of different reasons, which is, I
don't know if they're marginalized, but go ahead.
Well, when I say marginalized, what I mean is their content is restricted. They can't put it up places.
Sure.
And they went to adult websites and said, hey, we can just upload it here. But do you really want to have to go to a P-Hub to watch a video about a Bing Bang toy, right? You don't want to have to do that. So I'm just saying, if I'm OnlyFans, if I'm the company, I go, listen, we have the platform, we have the technology, we have all this other stuff. So I would go in my previous thing, let's say, I would split it up into 10 or 15 different platforms and say, we're going to have one that's specific to this community, that community, because that allows you to A/B test what will work. One, and two, it's going to let you go, hey, listen, if this community won't bring down the whole app. So if it's guys who like doing burnouts in their, they're doing, they're shutting down intersections and they're doing takeovers. Well, they're not the ones who are going to kill our app, right? It's going to be whomever. So they'll just kill that one section.
I humbly disagree. Lean in, build off of this. Guess what? We just said there's a lot of platforms out there that started out as one thing and became something else.
Right.
And you should sometimes, because that's what makes you successful. Why shoot your money-generating machine in the foot? Lean in.
I'm not saying they should. Money. You're right. I'm saying you should lean into your NSFW content. At the same time, take all of this stuff you've built, spin it off into a separate app so that you can continue to build audience in other
It won't build. Because it's when you build a brand like OnlyFans, right? Splitting off and saying, all right, here's OnlyFans NSFW or OnlyFans Original, and then OnlyFans Music, let's just say. Because I think that would be a logic. Separate music onto a thing. OnlyFans Music. I think OnlyFans Music dies. The same way that New Coke died. Or, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Well, okay, let's... In an earlier story today, we talked about one of your favorite TikTok creators, 2 different TikTok channels.
Right.
So that strategy works. So I'm just saying, like, hey, listen, OnlyFans, if you want me to come consult for you, hire me. If you want to fail, hire that guy.
I think you could, to combine both of yours and my theories, you could do a Reddit type of thing where you offer people a category, right? You can click this button. It takes away all the NSFW, off of your OnlyFans timeline, whatever it feed, right? Or you can click that you're here for music. You're here for whatever. Maybe give people those options, kind of like a Reddit, subreddit kind of thing.
The main thing is it's a subscription platform like a Patreon. And the reason why I feel like that's not going to work, and this is just my opinion, it's the correct opinion, is because when that credit card statement pops up and your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend, whomever it is, sees OnlyFans, you're going to have to be like, no, but I really like this musician that's on there.
Do you really think a lot of these people that are giving monthly fees to OnlyFans have a significant other at home? I don't know, folks. I'm not making assumptions. I'm just asking a question.
That's true. That is true. I guess, but I'm just saying, like, but if it's music fans or if it's car fans, then it's like, he's, my boyfriend's looking at cars and he's listening to music. It's a little less.
Maybe it's their mom looking at their credit card statement.
That's probably a more accurate.
Maybe it's a mom, but yeah. Again, Danny and I don't always have to agree. I said this earlier.
I'm always correct.
I'm a capitalist even in this sense. If you can make money doing this, do it, man. Make money. Go out and get it. However you're comfortable making it. I am actually a huge fan of OnlyFans in this. If you are safe in your home doing this, you are not out there in dangerous situations and whatever.
Correct.
So I am all for, if you can make money doing this or anything else, you make that money.
This is the very kind of, civil libertarian position, which is, hey, this, doing this legally is better than the alternatives, which are illegal, which puts people in vulnerable situations, which nobody wants to see people get into. But sometimes, there are OnlyFans creators making, nurses
amounts of money.
There was one of the articles when I was putting the story together was about a nurse who said, making $200,000 a month. That's a lot of money.
She found but I found that same article, and so you have a nurse that went to school to be a nurse, and for all intents and purposes was a successful nurse. And look, high-profile nurses make some pretty good money, right? It's not,
Yeah, but they're not making $200,000 a year.
A month?
A year. Right? Not even a year.
No. And that's what I'm saying. So if she can turn around and make $200,000 a month for the next couple of years, and if 10 years down the road she wants to go back to nursing because she's retired anyway and just wants to, you know what I mean? She can do that. But that's my point, is to me, apps like this, whether it's TikTok, whether it's OnlyFans or whatever, these are today's world of and I'm just probably going to piss some people off because they do or don't believe in it. This to me is part of what I call the American dream, right?
Yeah.
These are the ability that we have that, look, other places do too. I'm not taking away from anybody, but you can live in Austin, Texas, in New Mexico, in Nevada, in New York City, or whatever, and find a audience on OnlyFans that will pay you $200,000 a month to do whatever it is you're doing from the safety of your own home, right? That's the American dream. That's something that's available here that's not necessarily available everywhere.
And in previous iterations of that industry, you might have to go to a place that's seedy, that's in a bad part of town.
We all know that part in whatever town that you stay away from because of things. But
you stay away from there,
else, or whether it's TikTok and Shopify, or what what I mean, whatever it is. The fact that we have and continue to have all these different ways to make successful money, to make life-changing money in different varying ways, to me is not just the now, but it is the future as well. That already exists. YouTube was a unique thing in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
YouTube millionaires, right? That was like this thing. Like, how can anybody be a millionaire for making videos and posting them on YouTube, right? And then Jake and the Paul brothers come along, right? Yeah. And PewDiePie comes along, and all these, Casey Neistat and all these people come along, and that's just the big ones. You've got all these people in the middle that made lots of money that didn't necessarily make themselves millionaires, but they made a lot of money versus going to work in whatever job.
Listen, there were people who were making more money than they could have made working at Target, Walgreens, working at Starbucks. There are creators on YouTube who got to do what they were passionate about and made $75,000 a year. And a lot of those people might not have made $50,000 a year at a job.
If that, right? They were making minimum wage for $50 an hour. But then you turn around and because of the success of a YouTube, then you get Facebook, then you get TikTok, and then you get, all these different OnlyFans and these platforms where you can do the same thing.
Patreon and what have you.
And everything else. And I think you're only going to see more and more of these types of companies grow, because that's the old adage that I've used in business for years. I would rather give you 40% of $100 than me keep 100% of nothing. Right?
Correct.
Sharing revenue, sharing dollars that you make, and doing that together as a platform. To me, that's what Market Explainer will eventually become. Danny and I have talked about this as part of our overall business plan. Market Explainer will in the future not just be Danny and I, and eventually will probably Danny and I will be less and less, and we'll have some other people on here all the time and that kind of stuff. That's what it should be, is that growth. And so that's what OnlyFans is about. They just took something that already existed, found a way to monetize it, and share revenue with creators. That's it. It's a beautiful thing. New.
It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, no, like you were saying, I completely agree. And that is part of what we have in store for this platform that we are working to build.
Absolutely. So, Market Explainer will, there you go. Market Explainer will be the next OnlyFans for business.
Does that make us pimps?
That's all Danny's ever wanted to be. Isn't it true?
Hey, but before we cut everybody loose, I want everyone to know, listen, Elon Musk is out there. He's worried about landing on and occupying Mars. But my new fund, Mothership Capital, go to mothershipcapital.com, is purely focused on projects that conquer the multiverse. Now, the fund is currently open to family and friends and accredited investors with a $250,000 investing floor. We are the only fund out there focused on conquering the multiverse.
Oh, dear God, man. I hope that website actually exists.
I don't know how that, but I know.
We'll see you next time, folks.